I need to make sure I know how to make this work. Can we get the monitor up? Do these count against my second? Okay, so we'll get this up. I'll start without the monitor. As you were told by Chris Lehman, who's a huge inspiration to me, my name is Lisa Nielsen, and I have a blog called The Innovative Educator. And I'm really happy to have the opportunity to be here speaking with all of you. But what I'm not happy about is school and education. I did all the things I was supposed to do. I went to high school, I got good grades. I graduated at the top of my class. I went to college and I got good grades. And again, I graduated at the top of my class. I had great test scores, and I did it fast. I'm really fast. That's why I moved to New York City. I like getting through things very quickly. And I was 19, and I was standing there with my degree in one hand and scratching my head with the other hand, having no idea what I was going to do next. I picked my major in a way that I've heard other people have picked their major, which is the teacher who was the nicest to me. So I was a communication study major. This was not of interest to me. This did not match with my passions, talents, and interests, and I realized that I went all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade and then through college, and no one had ever bothered to ask me what I was interested in. And this is something that needs to change in school today. So what I'm going to talk to you about is connecting school life to real life. And everything that we need to do, we can do today, and we're currently choosing not to do it. So this is the first thing. We talk about a standardized education, and this is how we assess it. I don't believe in standardized education. We're in the 21st century. We should be customizing education. And I'll tell you, in real life, I've been in this century as long as all of you, over a decade, and I have not taken a single bubble test. So I don't know why we're wasting our kids' time on that. Thank you. What we should be doing is helping students achieve personal success plans. And this just seems so incredibly obvious to me. This already exists, and what a great way to measure success. Who is going to fight with that? I am helping myself achieve personal success, and you measure me by how successful I am at doing that. Or my teacher is helping me achieve success that's customized to me. Or my school is helping all of these students become successful in ways that are customized to them. And the pushback that I get on this is it's not measurable, but that's not true. You can measure these goals. You can get an 80% success rate, and we can scale this up. We should be looking at what students' interests are, what their heroes and helpers are, something that we call at the 140 conference their personal learning network. We should be helping them develop these things, thinking about their careers. You can do this starting in elementary school, and help them think about what their goals are. Which students do teachers have who they know what their actual goals are? Help them come up with plans and do real-world projects, not projects that are just from the classroom. And these are projects that would be very difficult to do in schools today, honestly, and this was mentioned earlier, and that's because the tools in school are not the tools that kids are really using in the world, nor are they the tools that adults are really using in the world. And I took this photo of a teenager. Here's a picture of him in his room on his desk, and all of these items that you see here, laptop, iPad, iTouch, cell phones, they are banned in schools. Not only are they banned in schools, but in districts like the one where I work, they have random sweeps with metal detectors to take away the contraband of these students today. And this is something that has to change. And I'm pissed off about it, and so are kids like Travis Allen. Travis Allen, who's up right here, is a student that I had the pleasure of meeting at ISTE a couple months ago. And he was angry because the school said to him that his technology and his iPhone and his devices were not learning tools. And he said to me, he didn't know who I was at all, and he said, when I was in school, I felt like I was in prison. They took my freedom away, and they did not let me learn the way I needed to learn. Travis now has 25 students who work for him. He is currently in college, and he goes around to educators across the globe explaining how the tools of student life and real life can and should be used in schools. And he is available for hire if you want some advice on how to get the tools in schools for real life. Thank you. The next thing, I hate these things. They're called textbooks. And Chris Lehman talks about this, and I so agree with what he says here. We often forget in schools that we're not just teaching subjects. Math, social studies, science, these are not the things we're teaching. We're actually teaching people. And these are people with passions, talents, interests, abilities, all the things that no educator had ever asked me what I was interested in. And yes, there's data-driven learning, but I say that we need to think about passion-driven learning. That's one of the things that we really start to move toward. But that becomes very difficult because these are the things that we're doing that are not getting students' passion. Again, 21st century, over a decade, I have not filled out a worksheet in my real life. This does not excite me. This does not elicit passion from me. I don't understand why we're doing these things. We can get these results without worksheets. And let me tell you, the book report. When was the last time you read a book that you loved and you thought, I want to go write a book report now? We don't do that. So what I want to really push people to think about doing is, what do you do in real life? I read a book that I hated, and I don't want other people to waste their time reading that book. So I'm going to write to Amazon.com so other people can see that I didn't like that book, or I love that book, and I rate that book. Why aren't we having kids do those sort of real things? Or what about entrepreneurship? Why doesn't that happen in school? Here is a young man. His name is Bryson. He loves making toys, and he's also very passionate about children's rights. And his toys all have pamphlets on them that tell about children's rights, and he sells them to local stores in his neighborhood. Here's another young girl. She loves making things, and soap is her newest thing. And she has become very creative, and she makes soap, and she sells soap, and she put together a blog and photos for her soap. She's 9 years old. She did not take a class on how to make a blog or how to even get paid. She figured it out herself by looking it up on the internet. Here another family, their grandparents, and this is such an important thing, the grandparents and the parents in our community, they're retired architects, and they're building a tree house, something that the kids can play in. They learn math, they learn geometry, and in the end, it's something real and a real skill that they can use. And then this is the young man that I showed earlier. He's now a teenager, and he loves music. This is something I've written about in my blog, not one of the things that's really valued in school today. But he makes CDs. He has a blog that supports these CDs, and the proceeds of his blog go to help ending child abuse. And then this was another young girl that I met, and she has Civil War Sally, which is a teddy bear, and she sends it to Civil War battlefields across the United States. And the kids who get it put information in the backpack of Civil War Sally about those battlefields, and she has a wiki and a blog that support this. Now, one thing all of those kids have in common is none of those projects I told you about happen in school. I asked far and wide for projects that kids were doing in school, and it was very difficult to get real-world projects like that. I know some of them exist. I'd be happy to hear about them and publish them on my blog, but it's very difficult to find real-world projects happening in school. And these are the ways that we assess kids today. Letters on a piece of paper, numbers on a piece of paper. And this is not going to prepare them for the world. When I was here last year, I talked about a student. His name is Armin McFadden. And he went to a school where they value passion-driven learning, starting in elementary school. Armin's passion is buses. He writes about buses. He's on discussion boards. He takes photos. He takes video. He blogs about buses. He's in high school today, and he has to spend his time prepping for the Regents. They don't even know about his buses. He wants a job. If any of you need a videographer or a photographer, he's here for you. He had no way from his school to publish the work that he is doing. He did not have a way to showcase his photos or his videos. So we spent about 45 minutes together, just put together a very basic site where it's his name, anyone can go and see his great videos and his great photos. And I said to him, isn't there anyone at your school you could talk to about putting together a cover letter or some type of digital footprint? Do they know that you have this blog that's awesome and that you're well known in the community about buses, and they don't know any of that? He has no digital footprint. I helped him create a Google page so that when people Google him, they'll know who Armin McFadden stands for. But we often are not doing this sort of thing in our schools today. And the reason that we're all here is social media. Social media has given me so many opportunities in my life. The kids that I talked to you about before who had projects, it gave them so many opportunities. Yet, unfortunately, in many cases, social media is banned and blocked in schools. And they just say, oh yes, we have to do it because of SEPA, FERPA, and COPA. And I actually wrote a post with Tom Whippy that dispels all of those myths. Get over those excuses. If you think they're an excuse, please do read my blog, because I explain why they are just smoke and mirrors, and there's a man behind the curtain that says that's not true. And we need to give our students the freedom to learn, because many of our students really feel, as we heard earlier, that they're locked and trapped in a prison of school. And we need to set them free. And I say, if we set them free, what are we so afraid of? Here's one thing we might be afraid of. They might tell us that they absolutely hate the test prep curriculum that we just bought them. There's a Facebook page called I Hate Study Island, and over 38,000 kids have united together to tell you all how much they hate it. Are you listening to them? This is banned and blocked in your schools, but they want you to hear that they don't want this product. Or maybe you're trying to tell them that electronic devices should be banned. Well, at this school, a student started a Facebook page. He got all the other kids involved. He contacted the media. It was written up in the local paper in Boston. And he was able, because he was given a voice, to help that ban be reversed where he is. And we really need to start giving our students a voice today. And here's another young girl. She started a Facebook page to organize a protest in New Jersey. And this was a protest against Governor Chris Christie's policies. And she got all these people together. They staged a walkout, and she tweeted, "This is insanity. I've never been more grateful to be a part of the youth of New Jersey. You all make me so proud. You're beautiful." And I saw her, and she was on the news that night, and I tweeted, "Anyone can make a Facebook page and potentially change the world," from the student who led the New Jersey walkout. I love it. And my thing that I want to tell you and leave you with is, if we're not helping students connect with, get the resources, and give them the tools that they need to change the world, then we are not doing our jobs, and that needs to change. Thank you. Thank you. So I have 1 minute left, so I could take one question if anyone has anything they'd like to ask. I see so many awesome faces out here. You have to have a really good question. No, you don't. But I have a lot of answers. All right, well then we will be a minute ahead of schedule. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, really.